Good evening. Welcome everyone to our number six of our six-part series, Building Black Franchise Ownership in the Great United States of America. It is 7 Central Daylight Time, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard. Today is Thursday, December the 2nd, 2021, the year of our Lord. My name is Henry Snorton, and it's great to have you guys with us as we go through our sixth session on Discovery Day and decision making. We have some excellent presenters with us today, a phenomenal producer, and we're going to share with you um, one of the most important, if not the most important steps of buying a franchise. Next slide, please, Chris. It's my pleasure alone to present to you all. My name is Henry Snowden III, the Startup Gurus. I am a franchise consultant with FranNet of Kentucky. There's three ways that you can start a business. You can start it independently on your own. You can purchase an existing business with someone, or you can buy a franchise. So it's my role to help you navigate one of those three processes. I have over 20 years of experiences in community and economic development services, helping individuals to create hundreds of jobs and a number of small businesses throughout the great United States of America, and helping individuals leverage millions in capital investment. Love to have the opportunity to work with you. In my spare time, I'm a big baseball fan, really heartbroken that my Dodgers didn't make it to the World Series, but happy about their run. I am a family man, happily married with four beautiful children. Rookie golfer, lifelong learner as well, and a serial entrepreneur. Next slide, please. You guys are really in for a treat tonight. We have some of the best franchise owners in the United States. We have Ramona Butler. She is the owner of Gym Guys out of Louisville, Kentucky. And we have Mr. Anthony Pollard. He's the owner of 360 Painting, South Central Maryland. You're going to really grow a lot from them, and they're going to give you so much insight. And from a franchise owner's perspective, also as a franchise consultant, we help you navigate the process. These individuals have been through the process. So one of the most important things that you will do as you learn about franchising is what's called validating. We completed that on our last session, session 5 of 6, when we talked about the validation process as you do your research and understanding how important it is to speak to existing owners that are doing exceedingly well, and existing owners that have went out of business, unfortunately, to learn from them. Next slide, please, Chris. Now, what we're also, as an agenda, going to spend a little time that you chatting with who is FriendNet, who is the organization that is sponsoring the time with us in front of you. Myself and Chris and Anthony and Tony are going to also share with you about building franchise ownership in the US. And that's going to be amazing. And we're going to talk about the 6 steps to franchise ownership. It's going to be a really good session. And we will talk with Ramona and Anthony, and they will discuss the franchises. And then in closing, we'll talk about the next steps. Is franchising for you, a question and answer session, and then closing remarks from everyone. Next slide, please. Now, who is FriendNet? FriendNet is a 30-year-old franchise consultant firm. We have history and experience in helping individuals navigate the process. And our role is similar to the dating game. We match you with a franchise that fits. There are over 100 local business consultants throughout the US. I'm one of them here in the South. We can help you anywhere. My office is in Louisville, Hopkinsville, and Evansville. That's where we work primarily. We have national partnerships with SCORE and SBDC chapters. So we're the only franchise consulting firm that have those experiences that can boast that they have national partnerships with those organizations. Next slide, please, Chris. The great thing about what we do as franchise consultants, our service, our license is provided by the SEC. and it is 100% free. So although I believe our services can be and are invaluable to you, they have to be provided to you at zero cost. And that's not to say that there won't be some expenses that you would have to incur as you go through this process and this journey. There may be a situation to where you want to bring an attorney to review some documents. There may be a situation once you want a CPA to look at some of the financial documents as well. You may want to travel when you do your validation. So there may be some expenses that you will incur, but they won't be to me as your franchise consultant. They will only be to those professionals. Next slide, please, Chris. As I mentioned to you guys before, our role is to match prospects with franchisors. Not only match, but as you go through this process, and I'm in the passenger side and you're the driver, and we're going at the rate of speed that you're comfortable with. We're making whatever type of pit stops that you want to make. The role is to make sure that we take the best route. Okay. It's not just going from A to B and taking the scenic route. You may want to take more of an efficient route. You may want to take longer and do take the scenic route. So it's also making sure that we help inform you as you go through this process that you can make a better enlightened decision. And we do pre-screen. As you work with a franchise and you become members in the partnership, it's important that you fit their standard and they fit your standard. So there is some pre-screening going on. A lot of franchise owners want to make sure that there are standards as far as liquid capital and net wealth. Those things are important as well. And last but not least, Henry, as a franchise consultant, we do not sell franchises. What we do is help introduce you to them and match them. Next slide, please, Chris. We also, in going through the process, work with a number of lending providers. And these lending providers help you similar to how we help you navigate the process. You will find that different financial institutions, non-deposit taking banks, those that are more online and don't have a physical location, as well as some of your traditional lenders, SBA lenders, 504, 7A, these things, they all have appetites for particular type of deals. Some don't want a loan under 150,000. Some want mostly service companies that are under 100,000. They all have appetites. So it's important that we match you up with the right lending organization. And Benetrends, Guidant, and Friend Fund can help you navigate that process. In addition, they can do some really unique things with your retirement is they can kind of roll it over and allow you to use your retirement to invest in your own company, similar to how you use your retirement to invest in stocks and bonds. Next slide, please, Chris. We live in a highly politicized environment, correct, in this society. So it's only right that we have our client bill of rights, similar to the US Bill of Rights. And I'm not going to review all 10 of them with you. The first thing that's important is we try to help assess if franchise ownership is right for you. It may not be right for you. Okay. Not everybody in the business follows a franchise. Some people do not want to follow a process, do not want to follow a path that's already laid out for you. Some people want to do it on their own, and that's fine. So again, going through the process kind of reveals maybe it's not right for you, and that's fine. Number 6 lets you know that your interest is first. Again, there's no money that you can pay me, so that's not the situation. It's important that we help you. And after all, it's hard to get referrals from somebody that you make unhappy. And one way to assess if you are an expert and you're good at what you do is if you can receive referrals. Next slide, please, Chris. Now, I'm going to speak to you a little bit about building Black franchise ownership, as this is 6 of 6, and we hope you go back through and check out the first one and the other 4 in between those sessions. Anthony, Ramona, and I had a couple conversations, and this all started during Black History Month, February 2020, just kind of before the pandemic hit us. And we wanted to do something to celebrate Black History Month that was not only celebratory, but also empowering. So we decided to come up with some type of model that helped to build wealth, or to help inform people how they can build wealth, how they can improve leadership in their community or in their state or in an organization. How could they create jobs? How could they work on opportunity advancements. How can we debunk some of the franchise myth that exists out there that they had to go through and debunk themselves as franchise owners? What is the process and journey that you would follow? And I say journey, one of my greatest slogans is, that I found out that Arthur has given credit for is success is a journey, not a destination. So when going through this process, it's a journey. It's not a place that you get to and stop and let, roots, as they say, grow under your feet. We want to keep you moving. And at the end of the day, we want to empower you. So we develop building Black franchise ownership in the US. It's a great way to build equity. It's a great way to build legacy. It's a great way to improve your lifestyle and your financial goals. And I'm going to yield because I'd really love to hear from Ramona and Anthony share with you quickly before their presentation about how has it been their experience sharing and how has their perspective looked at it when they think about building Black franchise ownership in the US. Anthony and Ramona, please.
Thank you, Henry. I'll start here, and I'll let the cleanup hitter, Ramona, follow me. Building Black franchise ownership and this model that you've built here, Henry, is so powerful. And I'm just delighted to have had an opportunity to participate and share in this process. And I think sharing is the key here, because what you have created here in this model, in this 6-part series, you created an opportunity to not only curate, but also share information. And with that information, you're helping to particularly inform our Black communities about avenues to generate income and, more importantly, generate wealth that are not traditionally talked about in our communities. So I think the first thing that I'm just excited about is, again, just the power of the information that is being shared to enlighten folks. And with that information, you're helping to demystify franchising, right? We all know about the McDonald's, the Chick-fil-A's, and so forth, the Subways, but franchising, it's so diverse. There's so many different franchises that exist. So the amount of capital that is needed varies greatly. And most people believe that you have to be a millionaire to start to buy a franchise, and that's not necessarily the case. But buying a franchise can make you a millionaire. So you're informing folks, you're giving them choices, and you're putting them on a path to wealth creation. And like you said a moment ago, you have an opportunity to build equity. You have an opportunity to create a legacy by building a business that can be passed on from generation to generation. And again, I'm just delighted to have an opportunity to participate in this. Although I've gone through the process, launched my franchise, and we've been in operation for more than 2 years now, going on 3 years now. I would have loved to have been able to participate and learn from a series like this before I learned about franchising late into my career, after I've had a career. So I thank you again for helping to put this together, and just delighted that I'm able to share in providing information, particularly from the practical experience as a franchise owner, to help enlighten folks about the path of developing a business through franchise ownership. So thank you.
Anthony, I mean, you took the words right out of my mouth. It's kind of great going after behind you, but I totally agree with everything that he just mentioned. I really do wish I would have participated in something like this prior to joining the franchise community, because it's very informative. Exactly what Anthony said. I mean, I think my favorite ones, and I don't know if I was on or not, is Investing in You, right? How to fund a startup was very beneficial. Having conversation with franchisees and franchisors. I wish I actually would have sat on a seminar prior to actually coming on board. And then the value of validating, which was very important. So to just wrap everything up nicely or in a bow is building Black franchise ownership. This series is very phenomenal, impactful, and it was really great to be a part of. And I hope this continues going forward because so many people could benefit from this series alone.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you all for your feedback and your comments and your candor and your insightfulness. It is so very important. You know, personal testimony is one of the greatest tools that we have. And if those that are on the calls, those that may listen to the recording, if you would like any of the previous recordings, as Ramona discussed, email or inbox us, and we'll make sure that we get all of them to you. And we're going to talk about how to introduce, how to get a recording and introduce them, starting again in Black History Month in 2022. The beauty of technology is it can be an on demand. So you have an opportunity to download all 6 and listen to them at your leisure, and move on from there. And one of the great byproducts of these webinars, and I'm going to cut my video back on, is the you know, we created better friendships and professional networks between our producer Chris Vincini and the franchise owner Anthony Pollard and the franchise owner Ramona Butler. So it's not only that we work together, it's that we can laugh and share and support one another in our goals and in our endeavors as well. So I really appreciate the friendships and continue to grow with you guys. Next slide, please, Chris. Now, the 6 steps to franchise ownership. This is a very busy slide, okay? So I'm gonna try to get through it with you as best as possible. As again, I like to use the word journey more than process. I think process for me is becoming more anecdotal. It's kind of cliche-ish now, because it's used so broadly and so vastly and so frequently. The first thing that we do when going through the 6-part franchise process, and this is the process that FranNet using. If you're working with another consultant or another organization, they may not use the same process. This is the process that FranNet uses, a 30-year-old franchise consulting firm with national partnerships with SCORE and SBDC. First, we start with you and try to learn your goals and your dreams. And the way to do that is we ask that you, number 2, complete an entrepreneur profile. And this is about a 15 to 20-minute assessment that helps us to understand your motivations, your interest, your goals. And again, it takes about 15 to 20 minutes of your 24-hour day. So hopefully you can set aside that much time. You know, the benefit of the journey or the process, if you will, is it's not like you're going to a vendor table and you're saying, Henry, what's the hot franchise right now? You know, that's not how we navigate the process. I need to learn about you as a franchise consultant. I need to learn, what are your interests? What do you like? What is an image for a business that you're going to be excited about operating for the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years? I need to know, do you want to work traditional hours, you know, Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, or do you want to work weekends? You know, there are models that are total opposites. Or are you okay working 24/7 on call? You say, well, Henry, what franchise does that? There are restoration businesses. So if I have a storm and there's a hole in my roof, I'm going to call a company that has a tarp and say, can you come tarp my roof? That's a 24/7 type of business. And if you don't want to do that, then that's not something that I need to introduce to you. So the franchise is a way that I begin to learn more about your personality. And after that, we sit down and we build a personal business model that suits you, that suits your interests. Talks about, what niches do you like? Do you like working with senior citizens? Do you like having children as your customer or your indirect customer, because the parents playing after all? Do you want to have employees? Are you okay with your employees being white collar, or are you okay with high school students? Or are you comfortable working with contractors in your line of work? All of that is used to build a model. And from that, I go to work for you, again, at no cost, and I begin to match your entrepreneur profile with the model that you created. Now, at this point, we have about 2 hours or more invested. And I've got a good understanding of who you are as an individual, how you look at business. Is it for you? Is it for your family? Is it for longevity? And then I match you with franchises from that information and I present them to you. And you have an opportunity to say, out of those 2 to 5, Henry, that you mentioned, I only like this one. Okay, which is fine. And at that point, I put you in direct conversation with the franchisor. Or you may say, I don't like any of them, Henry. And that's fine too. And I have to work a little harder. And we have a round 2 where I go back and I ask you a little bit more questions, maybe to catch something that I missed. After that, when you begin to speak to the franchisor, you do your research. That's when you do the validation process. You're talking to Anthony, you're talking to Ramona. If it's their franchises, Gym Guys or 360 Painting that you're interested in, and you're asking them, what's your day like? What's a bad day like? What's a good day like? How did you finance? You got to understand that someone may not want to discuss total revenues, net revenues. They may discuss margins, but that's up to the relationship of the franchisor. What happens when you went out of business? Was it because of the business model, or something happened in your family, or somebody's health? You do the research and find out, is this franchisor all that they say they are? Is the training and support that great? And then if you do like it, we move forward and we work on the purchase. But before you do the purchase, you have a discovery day. And the discovery day is what we're talking about today. Next slide, please, Chris. Okay. So I'm going to pause and ask Ramona to talk a little bit about her discovery day and some of her decision making. And we've done some preliminaries, but now you understand that once you go into a discovery day, you're learning the secret to the sauce. You're speaking to the franchisor. They're telling you the ins and out of the business. And without going to any proprietary information, we want to learn, what was the experience like? Was it virtual? Did you fly somewhere? Was it just you, or was it a group of other individuals? How long did it take? How intense was it? How long did it take you to make that decision? So again, we are glad to have Ramona Butler with Gym Glass with us, and she's going to talk about her discovery day and decision making to become a franchise owner with Gym Glass. Ramona?
Awesome. So you hit me with like 8 questions in that last little segment. So you might have to fire a few of those back off for me. The discovery day for me was exciting, but let me take a step back. I actually already knew in my mind, maybe at step 3, that I was going to go full on board with Gym Guys. So I just kind of went through the process when we got to discovery day. Like, my mind was already made up. So when I got there, I was the only franchisee for that day. And I think it was because of timing or scheduling. But they essentially rolled out the red carpet, right? We go in, we kind of do the song and the dance. I got to meet some of the major players, which means the folks in the corporate office. They took me to a really nice steak dinner. I think you owe me one, Anthony and Henry, but we'll talk about that offline. And then I literally got to ask whatever questions that I had, but most of my questions were answered prior to me even showing up. So I stayed the weekend to kind of get a feel. Now, I flew up to New York for my discovery day. And of course, some of the team members were asking me pertinent information or trying to get to know me a little bit better. But the headquarters was nice. The corporate office was nice. The folks were nice. And like I said, prior to me going to, I already knew this was a done deal. So literally my mind was made up when I talked to the newest franchisees and some of the seasoned franchisees. And based on those conversations of what their life had been like, and when I mean life, their career from start to finish, was kind of in line with what I have projected and what I do have projected for my career or longevity with Gym Guys as well. So it was pretty much already done. I did my homework prior to. Henry, it took me, are you ready for this? 4 weeks.
Okay.
4 weeks for me to make my decision. I did my first call. I found out about my options April the 8th, and then I was flying up in May. And then I was signing paperwork a week after I got back. So I'm kind of like the anomaly to this entire thing. But yes, do your homework and then enjoy Discovery Day. And then any of those last minute questions that you may have, it gives you a chance to ask the people in the office and actually I sat down with the owner. Did you sit down with the owner, Anthony? You say yes?
Yes, I did.
Okay, yes. So you get a chance to sit down with the actual owner and then kind of have a face-to-face, and I'm not gonna say heart to heart because it's all about business, but a candid conversation about, what life is like, expectations, lay those out, and then you just go for it.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, you answered all the questions that I had, Ramona, and you were motivated. We were texting earlier today, and that's what I said Anthony Ramona's motivated. So it sounds like you're motivated in this process as well. And tell me, do you think you are motivated because you were ready to transition from your career as an engineer?
You know, I was supposed to take 2 months off between my engineering career and starting something new. What motivated me the most was I saw you guys do a great job with the model. So I took the tests and I get the results back, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, these people know me better than my own mom. That's not possible, right? And I was honest during the assessment. And with me being honest, with me being ready, and then looking at the actual model, it was a no-brainer. So there really was no reason for me to kind of, drag my feet or hesitate. It was like, you see it, it lines up, and we go.
So based on that answer, I'm presuming you only went to one discovery day. You didn't go to any other franchisors' discovery days.
No, I didn't waste my time. I had
Gotcha.
three. I had three on the table. Yep. And then I narrowed them all down. And then really it boiled down to the conversations that I had with the franchisees, from those
Right.
who were like 6 months in and those who were like 7 years in. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Wonderful. Wonderful. So, as Ramona said, have candid conversations. Although although this is a trade, you are, and the SEC also regulates franchises and franchisor relationships because there's a trade going on. You give them money and
Yep.
they give you trade licenses, systems, trademarks, rights, understanding, territories, things of that nature. And from that sense, it is transactional. But they're also there to support you. So it does have some sensory to it as well. It's not a cold transaction. It's a very harmonious transaction to where you want to make sure that your culture fits the organization that you are paying the franchise fee for and the other startup costs. And that's very, very important. And vice versa. They need to fill you out as well as you need to fill them out. So, Ramona, thank you for your time. Next slide, please, Chris. And now Anthony is going to share with you. I think Anthony's franchise is just younger than Ramona's. I think being 2 years old as far as 360 painting. So he's going to tell you about his. And again, guys, all franchises are not created equally. Okay, they're not all the same. Some of them have development companies that run the franchise. Some of them are run by the owner themselves. Some of them, they have different models. Okay, some of them don't want you to own multi units. Some of them say just one is all that we allow. Others say we only franchise two at a time. So the models are different for different franchisors, and you get to learn more about them. And all of them still should fit your personality, your lifestyle, and your financial goals of where you're going. So let me get off the tracks. Ramona, they always said, I'm a country boy, and they always said, don't play on the track when the train is coming.
Right?
So let me get out of the way and mute my computer so Mr. Pollard can give us his presentation.
Humbly, I'm humble. Thank you again for another opportunity. So, and thank you, Ramona, for sharing your experience and breaking it down. And you're absolutely right. By the time you get to Discovery Day, you should have already put in a significant amount of work doing research, trying to make sure that there's alignment between your goals and your work style with the particular franchise that you are investigating, if you will. But even though you in your situation had your decision pretty much made up, there were still things that you're able to find. So having the opportunity to sit down with the CEO and speak with the CEO. There's some discovery in that, right? Getting an opportunity to understand the vision, right? So you've been doing research based on the history um, of the franchise. Now, as you're planning to join it, you also want to know, what does the future look like? And that was one thing that I really was interested in as I entered Discovery Day. What's the vision for this particular franchise? What's the vision for the overall organization? And I was able to ascertain that by sitting down with the CEO and really understanding, the path forward for uh, 360, painting. The second thing that I was looking for was, the values. What are the values, and how are they lived within the headquarters of the franchise? What's the culture like? Is it a fit for who I am and where I'm trying to go? So I was really looking for that value and culture alignment, and there's no better way to really get an assessment of that than to sit, right across from someone, to be with them for a period of a day or two, to really see how they operate when they're not in presentation mode. So I was able to get an assessment of the culture and the fit. And then the last thing I would say, kind of in line with assessing the culture and fit, was meeting the team. And I say meeting the team because although as you buy into the franchise and you begin to develop your local business, uh, the franchise, the franchisor still is a part of your team. There will be work that they will be doing from a technology standpoint, a marketing standpoint, that should benefit the local franchises. So I needed to meet the team and understand what the sales and training team would be focused on. How would they continue to share with us and help us develop and grow as franchise owners? What's the philosophy of the marketing team? Will they be working to generate buzz and brand awareness that will trickle down to the local community that I would be operating my franchise in? So meeting the team and understanding what their work styles are and what they would be working on was critical to me, and I was able to do that along with understanding the culture and getting a sense of the vision for the franchise through Discovery Day. So it was a very valuable use of my time over the couple of days. 360 painting is a part of Premium Service Brands, which has about 7 different brands under its umbrella now, and they're headquartered in Charlottesville, Virginia. So we actually drove down, my wife and I, we drove down from the DC metro area. It's about a 2.5, maybe a 3-hour drive, so not too bad for us. But it gave us an opportunity again just to really get out, get in front of the folks within Premium Service Brands and 360 Painting to understand what our organization, as we were ready to start, what it would look like, and the foundation that we would have to build upon it. So Discovery Day it was an invaluable use of our time.
Wonderful, wonderful. Um, and as Anthony mentioned, 360 Painting is a part of Premium Service Brands, that have more than one concept that they have. So, in understanding during his Discovery Day, is it affords him the opportunity to consider, do I want to own more than one 360 painting, or do I want to grow laterally to where I may consider trying to grow with a different franchise concept within the same company, which is a different option. Um, Ramona, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't believe Jim Gaz is a part of a development team. Is that correct or is that incorrect?
I think you're correct.
Okay, okay. And so not all concepts are a part of the development company. So they own different brands, a number of different brands. Um, as Anthony mentioned, that he can go from. It says, hey, since you're already dominating the space in this area in home services, residential services, and getting into some commercial services as well. How about you look at this also in growing within your same territory versus expanding your existing footprint and growing it to a different territory? That's pretty interesting. Did you like that, Anthony? Was that appealing to you? And I'm guessing more now than it was then. Now that you kind of had a little bit more time to go through the business ownership model.
No, indeed, it was very appealing to me. It was very appealing to me, then within the home services market, significant opportunity there, and the painting business and the ability to drive transformation, both residentially and commercially, certainly appealed to me. But to position myself with a company like Premium Service Brands that does offer multiple concepts that I could leverage to get a greater share of the wallet of a homeowner or a business in the commercial side was very, very appealing, to me. So I'm building a market today, right? We're servicing customers today. Those customers have needs beyond painting, right? So being able to leverage the other concepts that Premium Service Brand, offers, would position me to again be able to capture a greater share of the wallet for those clients. So I was that was very important for me at Discovery Day. It continues to be, what I classify as an advantage that would benefit me, as we continue to grow our business.
Wonderful, wonderful. And you see that with some bigger box brands now trying to do that same thing within that concept. It says, somebody's going to come to our store and buy groceries. Why can't they come to our store, get their eyes checked, drop off their taxes, get their vehicle service, get a bite to eat, and buy their groceries all at the same time in the same day? So it just expands the opportunity for a business to grow from an existing customer with more products and services being offered. So thank you all for sharing your direct experiences with your Discovery Day. And if you listen, they mentioned that their minds were pretty much made up before the Discovery Day, and most of the time, individuals that go to a Discovery Day tend to purchase the organization that they're going to visit during the Discovery Day. Next slide, please, Chris. I was fortunate. Before I go into this slide, I was fortunate. I had my first Discovery Day, but it wasn't as a potential customer. It was as a franchise consultant. We were invited down to Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and excuse me, there was a company there that does well, and they're called Anago Cleaning Systems, and they invited franchise consultants from Kentucky and Missouri, St. Louis area to visit with them to learn more about. They have a master franchise system that they use, and you got to go to the headquarters. The company is very family oriented. The CEO is the founder's son. The president of operation is the founder's daughter. You meet the individuals that are there that run the sales team, that do some of the calling and appointment making, the billing, the training. Those things really let you know this is the people behind the telephone. This is the culture of the organization. And ironically, it was the week before Thanksgiving, and they were giving away gift cards for turkeys to their employees. and this was on a Wednesday, the Wednesday before the week before Thanksgiving, and they had Thanksgiving dinner. So we were part of the company having Thanksgiving dinner, and they gave out the gift cards because they said that they had given off the headquarters on that Friday because people were generally going out for Thanksgiving. So it was just neat to see, and everybody had a good time, and you could tell that the company meshed well and had good culture, and that's the type of organization that you may be joining when you go to a Discovery Day to really spend time there. Tell me the time frame. When I was there with Anago, it was like 9 to 4. It was a day. It was a day's process. How about was you guys there? Was it a day or 2 day or um, in your duration with the franchisor during Discovery Day?
Mine was like from 8 to 5.
hmm
Hmm.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Yeah, mine was a day as well.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay. The thing that I always tell people is two different situations. Either you are going to work to make your dreams come true, or you're going to work to make somebody else's dreams come true. If you're going to work, okay? Either you're going to work for someone, and in that sense, you're making somebody else's dreams come true. Nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. Uh, or you're going to work to make your dreams come true. And I think there's a lot right with that. There's nothing wrong with making somebody else's dreams come true, but there's a lot right with making your dreams come true. When you're considering franchise ownership, you need to know that you are in business for yourself, but you are not by yourself. Next slide, please, Chris. So, what are the next steps? If you want to consider um, one path to business ownership, which is franchise ownership, versus independent creative business or buying an existing business, then again, it doesn't cost you any money to go through the process. It only costs you time, energy, and effort. I would love for you to complete an entrepreneur profile, which again is about a 15 to 20-minute assessment that identifies your characteristics, that identifies your motivations, your passions, your interests. And it helps me, it tells me that we kind of group different personality tests have all different groups. Okay. We have 4 different groups: a societal, a belonger, an achiever, and an emulator. And it shows how each makes decisions differently. Each are motivated differently. Some people want to move fast, and I could probably guess Ramona's entrepreneurial profile personality, but I won't try to. I won't try to, at the risk of being incorrect in front of everybody. So I won't do that. But that's what you're doing, and it really helps. But I was an achiever, and it talks about what does it say about achiever. It doesn't say one is better than the other. That's not the role. The role is to help understand this is what motivates this person. So when doing a business, we need to put them in a business that is going to equally motivate them in their lifestyle and their financial goals. So the entrepreneur's profile, you can text me, you can email me, you can call me, and it helped me to do that. Next slide, please, Chris. The things that you want to know at the end of the day, that you can consider is, do I need a vehicle that's going to help me reach my lifestyle and financial goals? Am I interested in a business that's going to help me to reduce risk? And we have a presentation that talks about from employee to entrepreneur, that talks about the risk timeline, if you will. The risk of an employee is more risky on the back end than it is on the front end. And the risk for entrepreneurs is more risky on the front end than it is for the back end. And we're in a different world. And as a result, going to college and getting a job is not as easy as it used to be spoken in 20, 30, 40 years ago. And now we're working more toward income security than job security. Thus, you have the rise of people working from home, being entrepreneurial, pop-up businesses, digital coin currency. There are ways to become more income secure than job secure. So if those are for you, then we should talk and have a conversation. Next slide, please, Chris. And as we talked about, in closing, are you willing to follow a system? If you're not willing to follow a system, then franchising is probably not for you, and that's okay. It's okay to be in that point. Is it affordable? about 7 to 8% of our franchises are under 50,000 all in. Another 13% are under 100,000 all in. So we have to find what's a good budget for you, and things of that nature, and what's an acceptable risk level. And last but not least, this is the most important for me because it's your business, it's your investment. But when we talk about affordability, please know there is no proven correlation between the amount of money that you invest and your return on equity. Okay, it's not any proven correlation between what you invest in a franchise and what you get in yield from that franchise. But again, the last thing that I always ask people, which is one of the most important, is will you enjoy what you're doing? And that's something that you will learn when you validate with your employees. I'm sorry, when you validate with franchise owners, when you go through the process, you ask them, what is your day like? And you will be able to assess, is that fun for me? Will I enjoy that? And if those are the cases, then it's something worth considering. It's not enough to make a decision. It's something to consider going through the process. And that's what we're here to help you do, to be informed, to move through the process. Next slide, please, Chris. This is a good opportunity if you want to, jump on your phone and hit the QR code. You can send me a text, or you can go straight to the website and you can get to the entrepreneur profile. Just take a picture of that, one of those two QR codes. Again, one, you can shoot me a text. The other is for you to complete the entrepreneur profile. All right. It don't take you 15, 20 minutes to send me a text, but it does take you 15, 20 minutes to keep the entrepreneur profile. All right. Next slide, please, Chris.
That is it. That's our.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. That's the last slide. I thought we had one more slide that had the beautiful pictures of Ramona and Anthony and Chris to say thank you. Thank you that we've completed our 6 of 6 webinars on building Black franchise ownership in the U.S. We've discussed them. We have them also recorded for you, and you can have them individually, or we plan to relaunch them at some point in 2022. But there are gems. As Anthony mentioned, they have a wealth of information that could help empower you to move forward and make decisions. So can I ask some closing remarks, please, Ramona and Anthony?
I have a real quick question before we go to closing remarks. So Henry, you guys do a great job of moving people into or connecting them with franchises. Do you guys also move franchisees out? So let's say the franchise gets towards the end and they want to sell and jump to another franchise. Do you guys also help with that?
FranNet does not. FranNet does not. We list it. We will list it on our database if it is an organization that is a part of our portfolio. But actively, and so indirectly, yes. So indirectly, if someone was interested in a particular franchise that someone was trying to sell that was in our portfolio, then we would include that one if that was one of the franchises that we presented and somebody liked. So for example, very loose example, if at some point in the future you say, hey, I'm thinking about changing my equity position in Gym Guys, then that one would be listed on our database. And if somebody was interested in a Gym Guys in the area where their territory is, we would include that one when presenting Gym Guys if that was one of the concepts that they liked.
Oh, okay. I was just curious.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So since you still, if there's no questions, then please give some closing remarks.
Oh, this has been phenomenal, Henry. Thank you for the invitation to participate. I encourage anyone who is watching live or on the replay to go back and start from the beginning and watch every single one, actually, because there's nuggets dropped in each and every segment. And before you take the leap, do your research, do your homework, and don't be afraid to take the leap. Because a lot of people will do their homework and do their research and they won't even move. Act. And that's how I'll end it.
Thank you. Anthony?
That's powerful right there. That's powerful. Do your homework, do your research, become empowered. Franchise ownership again in the African American community has been limited. And Henry, you probably have shared this before, but even still today, minority ownership in franchising is somewhere in the neighborhood of 30% and it's much smaller than that for Black franchise ownership. But the reality is the opportunity is just as great for us as it is for anyone else, as long as we know about it. This series arms you with information, so you can't say that you don't know about it. But to Ramona's point, once you have that information, you've got to be prepared to act on it, because these opportunities do not last long. But if you can take advantage of it, you can get started in building not only a good career, but a good business and a great legacy for you and your family.
Excellent, excellent. I thank you guys. And Ramona mentioned the invitation. Um, uh, Anthony and Ramona could have easily declined and said, "Hey, Henry, I'm sorry, I don't have time." These are business owners, family members. Uh, they have households, so I really appreciate and I really respected them equally if they declined at the same rate. But I'm really appreciative that they found time to give you guys, our audience, such insights on the franchise ownership process and to share with you their candor. Those things, you don't get from everybody. Everybody doesn't share with everybody. Although we've kind of been taught that, kind of growing up. So I really appreciate them giving. And it's typical for you all that are listening to have anxiety. It's new. Franchise ownership is new in a lot of regards for people. So it's typical to have anxiety, to have some fears, to have some hesitance. But I encourage you to do this. Replace those fears with facts, and those facts should then empower you. And once you are empowered, you should be motivated to move forward versus being immobilized. That's really important. Grab that information and move forward. It's don't let fear overcome you. Replace that fear with fact. This is not danger. All right. This is a positive step that you'll be taking in your life. So, Chris, we thank you for your time. Any questions from the participants? If there's no participants, we have done an amazing job at keeping these presentations all under 60 minutes. And similar to what Ramona mentioned earlier, she said one of her favorite was invest in you, and that's so important to do. Investing in you is not only financial. Give yourself time to continue to sharpen your saw, listen to webcasts, read, have conversations, network. Those are investments that you are making in you. And once you plant a apple seed, you get more than one apple. Okay, it's the law and principle of sowing seeds. So you have spent time with these presentations. Now you look to reap the benefits. So thank you for your time. I'm Henry Snorton. You have my contact here in front of you. It'd be my pleasure to assist you to complete this journey. You all, thank you again for your time. Chris, Anthony, Ramona, have a good evening.